In the quiet of their small South Side apartment, the Hassan sisters moved with the practiced rhythm only twins could share. One hunched over a laptop, eyes scanning budgets and bank statements, the glow illuminating a mixture of determination and anxiety. The other scrolled through social media drafts, pausing over captions, rehearsing the image they wanted to present to the world. Notebooks and receipts lay scattered across the desk, a chaotic reflection of ambition and obsession intertwined. Outside, the city lights blinked quietly, indifferent to the decisions being made inside this cramped apartment. Tension hung between them, invisible but tangible, one sister driven by hunger and opportunity, the other by caution and awareness of risk. It was here, amid the warmth and clutter, that seeds of desire, rivalry, and vulnerability quietly took root, setting the stage for a journey that would carry them far from the safety of home and into the shadow of danger. On the edge of Lake Michigan, the sisters posed for the camera, laughter spilling naturally despite the brisk wind tugging at their hair. To an outside observer, it was a carefree afternoon, a perfect Instagram moment framed by water and the Chicago skyline. Yet beneath the smiles, a quiet tension lingered. One sister radiated eagerness and ambition, eyes alight with possibility, while the other remained cautious, scanning the surroundings as if expecting the unexpected. The sunlight glinted off the rippling water, highlighting their energy, while shadows hinted at uncertainty lying just beneath the surface. Each step they took was a prelude, an unspoken choreography between opportunity and risk. In that fleeting afternoon, the bond of sisterhood felt strong yet fragile, a delicate balance between shared dreams and diverging instincts. The pier, calm and indifferent, bore silent witness to the subtle currents of ambition, desire, and the unknown dangers that awaited them beyond the city. The family's corner grocery store smelled of fresh bread and spices, a space alive with routine yet constraining in its familiarity. Behind the counter, Ahmed and Maryam Hassan worked tirelessly, hands worn from years of labor. The sisters moved past, outwardly ordinary, yet their expressions hinted at ambitions the store could never satisfy. One glanced briefly at their parents, a mix of gratitude and guilt in her eyes, while the other lingered on the aisles, imagining possibilities far beyond the confines of Chicago. The fluorescent lights above cast a soft glow, highlighting both warmth and limitation, comfort and confinement. In this everyday setting, ambition quietly simmered beneath ordinary interactions. The sisters' footsteps echoed faintly on the linoleum floor, marking the passage from childhood dreams to adult aspirations. Within this modest space, the subtle forces of desire, loyalty, and vulnerability began to converge, quietly setting in motion a chain of events that would soon carry them to a world of danger and deceit. Amira's eyes widened in the glow of the laptop screen. The email from Sheikh Khalid promised luxury, recognition, and a life far beyond her modest Chicago existence. Fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart racing with anticipation. Around her, the apartment faded into shadow, leaving only her and the bright text of opportunity. Papers and receipts scattered the desk, silent witnesses to her meticulous planning and desire. Excitement battled unease, a quiet warning her sister had often voiced but she chose to ignore. Outside, the city slept, oblivious to the pivotal choice unfolding in this tiny apartment. In that luminous glow, the trajectory of her life pivoted. Ambition had become a magnet, drawing her toward a world of glamour and influence that promised everything and concealed danger. Every click, every read, tethered her closer to a future she could not yet fathom, a world in which trust, greed, and vulnerability would collide with devastating consequence. The apartment felt smaller than ever as tension thickened the air. Leila stood rigid, her voice low but urgent, gesturing toward the chaotic spread of bills, receipts, and statements across the table. Every motion conveyed worry, not only about finances but about the path her sister was eagerly pursuing. Amira, impatient and radiant with anticipation, waved her concerns aside, dismissive of caution and consequence. Shadows stretched across the walls, elongating the silent discord that existed between them, echoing unspoken fears and unacknowledged doubts. Outside, Chicago's night pulsed with indifferent life, oblivious to the crossroads inside this modest apartment. Here, ambition, desire, and caution converged in a fragile, precarious balance. The sisters' differing instincts, once complementary, now foreshadowed divergence, a tension that would soon pull them into a chain of events beyond their control. Within this small space, the stage was quietly set for a journey that would test loyalty, trust, and the price of ambition. The airport buzzed with life, travelers moving in every direction, announcements echoing overhead. Amid this energy, the Hassan twins walked side by side, carry-on bags in hand, faces glowing with excitement and anticipation. To the outside world, they appeared ordinary travelers on the cusp of adventure. Yet beneath the smiles, there were currents of unease, one sister brimming with hope and expectation, the other quietly vigilant, sensing the unknowns ahead. The sunlight poured through towering glass windows, casting long shadows on polished floors, highlighting both their optimism and subtle apprehension. Every step forward carried them farther from familiarity, into a world where ambition, desire, and risk intertwined. The bustling terminal became a silent witness to their choices, recording the first physical movements of a journey that would alter their lives irrevocably. In that bright, transient space, the sisters stood poised on the threshold of opportunity and danger. From the sky, Dubai shimmered like a jewel, its skyscrapers catching the amber glow of the setting sun. Yachts bobbed gently in the marina, their owners invisible but implied, symbols of wealth and status. Streets buzzed faintly below, a rhythmic pulse of life that contrasted with the stillness of the city's towering structures. To newcomers, the city promised glamour, opportunity, and excitement, a world far removed from the modest neighborhoods of Chicago. Yet beneath its golden surface lay hidden currents, manipulation, exploitation, and unseen forces that preyed on ambition and desire. Every gleaming window, every reflection on the water, hinted at the duality of promise and peril. In the fading light, the Hassan sisters arrived, unaware of the dangerous allure that awaited them. Dubai's beauty was hypnotic, but the city also carried a subtle warning: not everything that shines can be trusted, and the line between opportunity and entrapment can be perilously thin. Stepping into the opulent lobby of the Jumeirah Zabil Saray, the sisters were enveloped by luxury, polished marble floors, crystal chandeliers hanging like frozen stars, and staff moving gracefully in a rhythm of hospitality. The aroma of fresh flowers and perfumed air filled the expansive space. Amira's eyes sparkled, reflecting the magnitude of her new surroundings. Every detail confirmed the promises whispered in emails and messages: a life of opportunity and indulgence. Leila, however, observed more carefully, cataloging faces, exits, and subtle cues of behavior. Her caution was a quiet undercurrent, a stark contrast to Amira's unfiltered excitement. In the golden light streaming through the grand lobby, the sisters' journey had shifted from ordinary travel to immersion in a world of wealth and power. This was the threshold where glamour intersected with deception, where ambition and desire could easily be manipulated, and where the calm exterior hid unseen danger waiting to unfold. The yacht gleamed in the late afternoon sun, its pristine hull reflecting the golden light of the marina. The sisters stepped aboard, polished shoes meeting the warm teak deck, a mixture of excitement and trepidation etched into their movements. A man in mirrored sunglasses and flowing white robes observed them from the railing, his expression unreadable and commanding. Every step they took carried an unspoken tension, an invisible pull between trust and uncertainty. The marina's gentle waves contrasted with the subtle anxiety rising aboard the vessel. Each detail, the deck's sheen, the glint of water, the shift of shadows, hinted at the unfolding danger. Here, luxury was a veneer for manipulation, and charm masked control. The sisters were poised at a crossroads where choice and risk collided, stepping into a world carefully orchestrated to exploit their ambition. In this golden hour, the calm of the water belied the storm about to engulf them. The teak deck appeared pristine at first glance, bathed in the golden light of late afternoon, yet subtle details betrayed a darker reality. Small traces of blood marred the wood, nearly invisible, while delicate fibers hinted at a struggle hidden from casual view. Amira's sandals, still in place, marked the last known moments of her presence, a silent testament to a pivotal and perilous event. The gentle rocking of the yacht contrasted sharply with the tension embedded in the scene, as though the vessel itself held memories of what transpired. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the deck, amplifying unease, turning ordinary planks into witnesses of unseen violence. In this space, meant for leisure and indulgence, the first tangible signs of danger and betrayal were exposed. Every grain of wood and glint of sunlight contributed to a silent narrative, revealing ambition, vulnerability, and a world where trust could be weaponized with devastating consequences. The desert stretched endlessly, a sea of sand indifferent to human events. Amid its vastness, a white Lexus sat half-buried, doors flung open, revealing suitcases left in haste and a shattered smartphone glinting under the sun. Tire tracks faded into the dunes, marking a fleeting path of movement, now erased by wind and time. The vehicle was a silent witness to chaos, its emptiness amplifying the unease. Every detail, the scorching sunlight, the shadows stretching across the metal, the scattered belongings, told of desperation and danger. The stillness of the desert contrasted sharply with the violent implications of what had transpired, hinting at a careful orchestration that left few traces behind. Here, ambition and trust had collided with a world capable of exploitation. The Lexus, abandoned and isolated, was more than a car. It was the first physical marker of a plan executed, a life interrupted, and a story waiting to be unraveled. Inside a quiet Chicago office, investigators leaned over glowing monitors, tracing digital breadcrumbs left by the Hassan sisters' sudden departure. Flight logs, maps, and social media messages flashed across screens, fragments of a sprawling puzzle spanning continents. Papers littered desks, scribbled with notes, timelines, and connections, forming a chaotic mosaic of inquiry. Every click, scroll, and highlighted figure carried weight, revealing the movements, intentions, and possible dangers surrounding the twins. The low hum of computers and murmured deliberations filled the room, each moment drawing clarity from scattered data. Patterns emerged slowly, revealing not just travel but manipulation, financial irregularities, and the hidden currents of deception. Here, digital fragments became evidence, translating the unseen into tangible insight. In this space, thousands of miles away from the desert and the yacht, the silent truth began to take form. Ambition, trust, and risk had intersected in a meticulously orchestrated plan. And investigators were finally beginning to unravel its scope. In a sterile Dubai laboratory, forensic technicians moved with painstaking precision, examining traces of evidence from the yacht. Each droplet of blood, fiber, and residue was meticulously documented, catalogued, and photographed under bright focused lighting. Gloves glinted, instruments hummed, and magnified lenses revealed details invisible to the naked eye. Every fragment told a story. The blood suggested a struggle, the fibers hinted at clothing or restraint, and residue indicated deliberate attempts to erase traces. The lab was quiet, controlled, and exacting, a stark contrast to the chaos of the crime scene. Each finding brought investigators closer to understanding the fate of Amira Hassan, transforming suspicion into certainty. The scientists worked methodically, aware that these details were more than evidence. They were voices from the past, narrating moments of fear, manipulation, and vulnerability. Here, logic and observation illuminated a dark truth, connecting ambition, trust, and the human cost of deception. Sheets of paper and digital printouts sprawled across the desk, dense with numbers, account codes, and timestamps. Investigators' hands traced lines of transactions, uncovering irregular patterns and subtle anomalies. The Cayman Islands Shell Company revealed itself as a conduit for laundering funds, its pages exposing the careful orchestration behind the twins' financial exploitation. Each transfer, each account, told a story of manipulation and premeditation, linking ambition, trust, and deception across oceans. The quiet rustle of paper and tap of pens punctuated the investigative rhythm, translating raw data into a narrative of crime. Every anomaly confirmed suspicions. Someone had meticulously engineered this plan, exploiting vulnerabilities while hiding in legal shadows. The documents were more than evidence, they were a roadmap of human ambition intersecting with criminal ingenuity, a testament to greed and the lengths some would go to exploit the desires of those chasing opportunity. In the quiet of a dim apartment, Leila tapped cautiously at her laptop, the faint glow from a prepaid Wi-Fi hotspot illuminating her focused face. Her posture was tense, movements deliberate, as she navigated multiple social media accounts once shared with her sister. The screens displayed messages, posts, and images, a trail of digital footprints she now had to manage alone. Anxiety, guilt, and responsibility weighed heavily, each click a negotiation between survival and conscience. Shadows stretched across the room, mirroring the isolation that had become her reality. Every action she took was measured, a delicate balance to protect herself while uncovering clues hidden in online interactions. In this private space, ambition, deception, and loyalty converged digitally, a reflection of the complicated web surrounding the Hassan sisters. Here, survival demanded vigilance, secrecy, and resilience, and the silent whispers of trust and betrayal echoed through the faint hum of the laptop. The arrest was sudden, executed with precision on a quiet European street. Officers moved swiftly, their steps measured, while the suspect, a man in his 30s, appeared momentarily stunned as handcuffs clicked around his wrists. Beside him, a laptop and briefcase, silent evidence of his involvement, were seized, containing traces of transactions, communications, and digital breadcrumbs connected to the Hassan sisters' disappearance. The surrounding city moved unaware, oblivious to the quiet drama unfolding on the pavement. Investigators knew every second counted, each item potentially revealing the layers of manipulation, deceit, and coordination orchestrated by the suspect. Shadows stretched long in the fading daylight, mirroring the gravity of the operation. In that moment, law enforcement bridged the gap between suspicion and accountability, isolating one node in an intricate network. The arrest marked a turning point, transforming digital traces and rumors into tangible leads that would unravel a transnational conspiracy. The envelope lay quietly among a scattered pile of papers, unassuming yet carrying the weight of truth. Inside, a handwritten confession detailed events, motivations, and admissions that no digital record could fully capture. The letter's edges were slightly worn, stamped and postmarked from Jordan, a distant thread connecting continents in this tangled story. Each word penned conveyed fear, desperation, and a reluctant acknowledgement of responsibility. The surrounding clutter, stamps, receipts, and notes, spoke of frantic organization, an attempt to untangle chaos from deliberate action. For investigators, this simple sheet of paper became a voice, translating hidden truths into tangible understanding. The warm glow of ambient light illuminated the delicate script, emphasizing the human dimension of crime, ambition, and betrayal. In that moment, a silent confession transformed evidence into narrative, revealing not only the mechanics of deceit but also the vulnerability of those caught in the machinations of power, wealth, and manipulation. Inside the behavioral analysis room at FBI headquarters, agents and profilers leaned over walls covered in photos, timelines, and colored strings connecting disparate pieces of information. Every image, every note, was a fragment of a broader puzzle linking ambition, manipulation, and crime across continents. Conversations were hushed, analytical, each voice calculating patterns of behavior, potential motives, and likely next moves. The room was dimly lit, focused spotlights highlighting key sections of the investigation board, creating a chiaroscuro of insight and mystery. Maps of Dubai, Chicago, and Europe overlapped, connecting flight paths, bank transactions, and social interactions in an intricate web. Each discovery, each connection, brought clarity and urgency, guiding law enforcement toward actionable intelligence. Here, the abstract became concrete, human behavior was mapped and predicted, and the silent truths of trust, betrayal, and calculated ambition were meticulously dissected. This room transformed uncertainty into strategy, illuminating the hidden orchestration behind the Hassan sisters' fateful journey. The small financial office smelled faintly of metal and paper, its interior dimly lit, casting long shadows across counters and stacks of bills. Leila moved with careful deliberation, exchanging cash for gold under the watchful eyes of the teller. Her movements were precise, measured, each transaction a calculated step toward safeguarding resources and maintaining control in a precarious situation. The quiet atmosphere amplified the weight of each action, the rustle of paper and metallic clink of coins punctuating a tension-filled rhythm. Outside, Chicago's streets pulsed with life, oblivious to the silent negotiations and risks unfolding inside this modest office. Every action carried both opportunity and peril, a reflection of the delicate balance between survival and exposure. Here, the tangible exchange of wealth mirrored the abstract struggle of trust, ambition, and secrecy. Each gold bar, each banknote, became part of a larger narrative, a physical manifestation of the stakes and choices surrounding the Hassan sisters' ordeal. In a stark forensic laboratory, a technician adjusted the microscope, eyes narrowing as DNA samples came into focus. Gloves glinted under the focused light, instruments humming quietly, each adjustment precise and deliberate. The DNA confirmed Amira's presence on the yacht, providing a tangible link to a sequence of events that had until now remained fragmented and mysterious. Every strand of genetic material told a story, revealing presence, movement, and interaction that no witness could fully recount. The lab was quiet but charged with intensity, every detail scrutinized under the unforgiving lens of science. Each observation transformed suspicion into confirmation, uncertainty into evidence, allowing investigators to reconstruct moments of fear, struggle, and human vulnerability. In this controlled environment, the invisible became visible, and the abstract consequences of greed, ambition, and betrayal were distilled into incontrovertible facts. The silent strands of DNA became narrators, speaking where words had failed, illuminating the path from opportunity to tragedy. The security footage captured only shadows and vague silhouettes, yet every movement told a story. The timestamp marked the hours before the disappearance, freezing the yacht in a moment of uneasy calm. Figures moved across the deck, gestures, pauses, and subtle shifts that would later be dissected frame by frame. The grainy images provided investigators with silent, impartial witnesses, documenting actions the human eye might have missed. Each shadow hinted at intention, and every movement carried weight, weaving together fragments of evidence into a larger narrative. The footage became a critical link, confirming timelines and placing individuals at precise locations during key moments. Even in its grainy abstraction, the recording held undeniable authority, illuminating truths hidden from the casual observer. It transformed the yacht from a symbol of luxury into a stage of suspense and danger, silently narrating the unfolding of ambition, manipulation, and betrayal. Back in Chicago, the Hassan family grappled with uncertainty and fear. Ahmed and Mariam sat in the dim glow of the living room lamp, hands clasped tightly, the day's news and messages spread across tables. Their faces reflected exhaustion, worry, and helplessness, as every unanswered call amplified the tension in the room. The familiar space, the very home that had nurtured the twins, now felt fragile, a sanctuary penetrated by uncertainty. Each newspaper headline, each phone notification, reminded them of the distance between hope and reality. The parents' gaze shifted repeatedly toward the door, a subconscious hope that someone would appear with answers. Silence dominated the room, punctuated by the occasional sigh or shuffle, yet the weight of what had transpired was unmistakable. In this intimate setting, the human cost of ambition, trust, and vulnerability became tangible, echoing through walls that had once known laughter and ordinary routine. The terminal bustled with oblivious travelers, but for law enforcement, every step was precise and deliberate. Officers moved quickly to detain a suspect linked to the transnational scheme that had ensnared the Hassan sisters. The man, dressed in tailored clothing, froze as handcuffs secured his wrists, luggage left abandoned nearby. Passengers glanced curiously, unaware of the gravity unfolding at the edge of their routine. This arrest represented months of painstaking investigation, tracking financial trails, social interactions, and digital footprints across continents. Every captured movement confirmed patterns, revealing the orchestrated manipulation behind the luxury and deception. In the bright artificial light of the terminal, law enforcement demonstrated the reach of justice, bridging distances and complexities with precision. The arrest was both a culmination and a turning point, the tangible enforcement of accountability, and a stark reminder that ambition, trust, and greed can intersect with consequences that stretch far beyond the confines of any single city. Inside the courtroom, the weight of consequence was palpable. The suspect sat beside his attorneys, documents and evidence neatly arranged before them, each page a testament to the years of manipulation, deceit, and exploitation. Sunlight filtered through tall windows, illuminating the faces of those present, casting long shadows across the polished floor. The judge's gaze was steady, impartial, commanding attention as the case unfolded. Outside, the world remained unaware of the meticulous unraveling of a transnational scheme that had captivated investigators, families, and the public alike. Here, law intersected with human frailty, ambition, and betrayal, distilling complex events into legal narrative. Each piece of evidence, each testimony, illuminated motives and consequences, transforming abstract suspicion into tangible judgment. In the courtroom, the grandeur of justice contrasted sharply with the intimate human suffering at the story's core, underscoring the ironic intersection of greed, trust, and accountability. As the sun set over Chicago, the rooftop of the sisters' apartment reflected quiet absence. The city glowed beneath warm golden light, yet the small rooftop bore the weight of vanished dreams. Remnants of their lives, scattered notebooks, a single sandal, a forgotten backpack, hinted at the abrupt transition from hope to peril. From this vantage, ambition and desire seemed fragile against the vastness of consequence. The skyline remained indifferent, a silent witness to the intersection of trust, greed, and the unpredictable paths of human choice. The story of the Hassan sisters was a cautionary tale. Even the brightest ambitions could be ensnared by charm, manipulation, and deceit. Yet in the quiet melancholy of the fading light, there was clarity. Lessons of vigilance, the cost of blind trust, and the fragile balance between opportunity and danger echoed silently across the city, a final testament to human vulnerability and the unforeseen consequences of desire.